We're here in the Botanical Gardens of Singapore. This will be a beautiful walk because there's so much green. Today we'll walk through one of my favorite parts. It's nice and quiet as well. It's about 6 o'clock in the evening. We'll turn here. This goes to the small water catchment area. It's not stagnant, so no fear of mosquitoes. There are actually a lot of fish here. A lot of fish. Sorry, just heard some birds fly past. Okay, this part has a small path that very few people know about that goes to a quiet area. Here we go. Okay, the water here may be a little bit more stagnant. There's something on the surface of the water. I'm not sure if they spray any, kerosene to prevent the growth of mosquitoes laying their eggs. They may have. I hope not. You hear a recorded, what's that, a frog sound once in a while. Yeah, that's the sound of the fake frog. Lots of bugs. Lots of information as well. This place is very well taken care of most of the time. At this time of the day, we'll get lots of joggers and the occasional people who have a little bit of physical difficulties doing their physiotherapy, getting some exercise done. I think we'll skip this platform and just go ahead to the other side. Lots of dried leaves too. This is the actual path. And this is the common joggers path. Lots of rules to follow. So we'll go to the right. This part of the walk, I wouldn't say there's much to see, but it is the quieter part, and there's a little bit more, what do you call it, canopy? Yeah, so the sun doesn't get to this part as much. I'll make a left after this. This part gets a little dark, so I'm not sure about the white balance and the exposure compensation of the device I'm using, which is the Osmo Pocket. I guess it will probably be okay, but might be a little bit noisy. Visually noisy. The wooden boards on the path didn't used to be so loose. Guess it's just wear and tear. For the next portion, if I make a left, it will bring us to the bridge that we saw a little earlier when we were looking over the water body. Ooh, squirrel. But we won't go there. We'll just carry on straight. Looks like they're having some maintenance works on the left. Sounds very enthusiastic. I'm in a state of panic. Trees here grow really tall. Yeah. It's been a pretty hot spell, so even though it's cooling, but it's kind of humid as well. It's cooling because of all this greenery. If I was to walk in an urban area, it'd be a lot hotter. To the left, there's a windy path down, but we'll go straight. This is a built-up bridge area, and it's called apple trees, blah blah blah. Really tall stuff here. I'm quite fortunate actually to live near the Singapore Botanical Gardens. I live in Holland Village, which is about 2 to 3 kilometers away. I could take the bus here, I could walk here, but I drove. On the right is actually the main road. I think it's Thrissall Avenue. Lots of palm. I have the mini palm at home. It's doing very well. Doesn't really need much sunlight. This part of the walk is pretty high up. I think if you were to fall from this height, you'd probably injure yourself. It's not a path down there, it's just cleared out areas for the people to work and maintain this beautiful garden. Instead of walking back to the starting area of this bridge area, we'll take the spiral staircase down and proceed to Swan Lake. Okay, you won't get me playing with this, but I have seen many people lie down, sit and have picnics on these. Maybe when I was younger I would have done that, but not at this age. That's the jogging path below, back the way we started. We'll take the spiral staircase down. No pets allowed. This is one of the gates that cannot be accessed from the inside or the outside, except for people who work at the gardens. The lake is coming up. It'll get a little bit noisier as we get to the Swan Lake. Or maybe not. Looks like there's nobody today. Which is, well, kind of sad. When I was a kid, they didn't have this sculpture. This was built like maybe 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. Lots of diversity here, lots of birds, really small birds. And we can hear the main road from here as well. We're near the main gate that is at Holland Road. There's nobody, or very few. I turned the camera away because there were a few people. In general, people don't like to be filmed. Wow, the surface of the water is really covered with... Oh, I'm not sure if you can see that, but that's a monitor lizard swimming across the surface. I'll try to zoom in post-production. What do they call this tree? There's a name for it. Banyan? Banyan tree? I'm sure there's a name for it somewhere. The swans are not out either. There are usually 2 white swans. Lots of undergrowth in the water. I wish I could keep some for my terrariums, but this is a park after all, so there are rules. Usually there will be lots of kids, parents with strollers on this path that we're walking on, but there's no one today. I don't know. Before COVID, it was crowded. During COVID, it was less crowded. Now that we all don't have to wear masks outdoors anymore. There he is. Right at the opposite end, next to the blue boat. I'm not sure if you can see it, but he's just ducked his head down. Yeah. Nobody feeds them anymore. I mean the public anyway. So I guess the guardians will have to do that. People walk their dogs here in the evenings. We're actually parallel to what the park calls the main gate road. There's our friend, but he's all alone. Amazing, there's nobody at Swan Lake. Some workers on the right, but we'll turn there anyway. This is one of my favorite spots in the garden. Just up ahead is where they've let loose with spike moss. Spike moss is not really a moss, it's more like a fern. Little spots like these. This is gotta be the quietest place in the gardens. Okay, let me show you some spike moss. Here we go. Spike moss. They come in all colors. My favorite is the red shaded ones. You don't see them very often. but they look like dragon scales. There's a small water feature. A whole lot of spike moss and some ferns. Here are some greener ones. It's actually pretty dark here, but I guess the camera will compensate somewhat, make it look like as if it's the middle of the day. These look very nice, very soft. They're all over. Can you hear the insects? Oh well. Back to the garden. It is so hot now, I'm perspiring like crazy. This is also very beautiful. I wish I could grow all of this in my terrarium, but that will be too challenging. Okay, let's find our way out. To the main jogging path. Heritage Garden. Okay, this tree in front is really old. About 1.5. Oh man, the roosters. It's already evening. About 1.5 years ago, when I saw this tree, which is called Buni. It's a heritage tree. I saw that they had a low branch, and there were two families. I don't know whether you can see this. There were two families with lots of kids, and the parents were getting the kids to climb onto this branch right in front of me and to jump on it to take pictures. That was about 1.5 years ago. So I don't know, it just felt wrong, so I took a picture of them on my phone, and then I went to the main counter. I'll show you that later. And I showed this to the two staff that were there. And yeah, they've essentially blocked off this whole area. So now nobody can enter this heritage trees growth path. It's a really old tree. Yeah, but looks like the damage is already done. It's gonna take a very long time to heal. Kind of sad, but I'm glad I did bring it up. Sometimes we just have to say something or do something when we see something that's not right. Kind of sad that parents are like that nowadays. The kids were about maybe 5 to 7 years old, 9 years old. But come on, I mean, you bring your kids to the gardens to show them, teach them something, right? Oh dear, lots of dead leaves on the ground. Oh, sorry for the noise. We'll take a walk up to the pavilion, the famous pavilion, where everybody does their photo shoots, including wedding shoots. And then we'll head back to the main area at the back gate, the Trisol gate. The garden is quite huge. We've only scratched like 1/10 of the gardens, no kidding. This is where they do bonsai. Not really a fan. That's the cactus enclosure, cacti. And here we are, the infamous pavilion. Beautiful, except for the chickens. They've built many pockets of interesting flora, fauna, like this one. It's like a maze, but not really a maze. This is our national flower, Vanda Miss Joaquim. I would argue that you could call it Joaquim, but hey, it's not my rose, not my flower. It's an orchid actually. Chickens everywhere, and nobody in sight. If you hear rustling sounds on dried leaves, it's the chickens. Wow, look at this guy. He's tall. There's a new spot I found called the rainforest. Let's just check out the entrance. It looks like it's chained up. This is a new spot I found last year. This path leads to the Symphony Lake and I suppose the Symphony Gardens, and straight up ahead is the Orchid Gardens. Some retail shops, restaurants. The lights are out, so it's actually pretty late. I think it should be around 7:15. It'd be nice to walk around a little bit more. But anyway, we can't do everything on one video. This is just the beginning of maybe, let me see, three-part series? We'll see. So on the right is the Symphony Lake. This is the clock. I think they tell world time, 4 different sites, so 4 different clock timings. The National Orchid Gardens in front. And the left are the restaurants. Oh, the food smells good. And we're heading back to the drop-off area. I smell truffle. Here's a little bit of a noisy waterfall. We'll go in just for fun. I don't want to wet my shoes. This is the path. Okay, I'm sure you're pretty lost by now, but anyway, this is the path on the right that leads up to that heritage tree I was talking to you about, where the kids were playing. Here's the drop-off area, the visitor area, where you get your info. There's a toilet around here as well. People must have been cycling. They usually don't have to put such obvious signs. But you know, people can be stubborn. This is the visitor services area. And that's the end. of this part of the park. There are some places where I missed. Don't have as much time as I would have liked. And if you're thirsty, guess what? Vending machine. Pretty cheap too. It's about $1.10 Singapore for a can of Fuji apple. I think it's fizzy. So don't forget to bring your change. Or $2 notes. Okay, that's it. Bye.